Gentleman's Game here with another video. I know I've been a bit slow with the uploads recently. Things have been really hectic in my personal life. But from here on out, expect me to drop a weekly video. Also, just thought I'd let you know that the Inner Circle program is closing soon, so if you'd like to join and learn how to automate your entire dating process, feel free to book a call below. You know, one thing that really bothers me about the approach that most guys have when it comes to wanting to improve their dating lives is the fact that they always make it about themselves. Like, I just met this girl, but how can I make her my girlfriend? Or, what do I have to do to make her want to sleep with me? Or, what can I talk about so she thinks I'm the coolest, most attractive guy in the room? In other words, they're not even trying to look at things from her perspective. There's a quote that I really like from Robert Greene about this phenomena. We all naturally possess the most remarkable tool for connecting to people and attaining social power, empathy. When cultivated and properly used, it can allow us to see into the moods and minds of others, giving us the power to anticipate people's actions and gently lower their resistance. This instrument, however, is blunted by our habitual self-absorption. We are all narcissists, some deeper on the spectrum than others. Our mission in life is to come to terms with this self-love and learn how to turn our sensitivity outward toward others instead of inward. We must recognize at the same time the toxic narcissists among us before getting enmeshed in their dramas and poisoned by their envy. Basically, what he's saying here is that we all have the power to connect with people, to read her vibe in order to give her just the emotions she needs. Again, remember that girls are emotional creatures, so if you can target her feelings, making her feel things that she only does with you, then having her become addicted to you is simply an inevitability. However, the problem is that most guys aren't able to do this. Why? Because most guys are way too concerned with themselves to be able to properly empathize with and read the girl in order to give her just what she needs. And there's a lot of reasons why guys do this. After all, we all yearn for attention and validation, especially when it's from a girl who we find attractive. As guys mature, before they get real experience with women, they're almost desperate to know that they're good enough for these girls, that they're attractive. Because of this, when these guys are talking to girls, instead of coming at it from the perspective of actually trying to get to know her and connect with her, they come at it from the angle of, oh, I have to seem cool, I have to make her think I'm attractive. Again, their attention is on themselves, being self-absorbed and narcissistic. So that's really the first obstacle that you have to overcome, the need for self-validation. When you become free from needing to prove to yourself that you're good enough to attract hot girls, then you become more relaxed, more present, and most importantly, you're more in tune with her and her emotions. And again, that just comes down to empathy. Empathy is the secret you can tap into to understand her blueprint and give her just what she needs. Now, I actually want to take this concept further. What if we had a few different ways you can channel this empathy to make her trust you, more receptive to you overall? Empathy is an extremely attractive quality to a girl because, again, it makes her feel understood. The first thing you need to realize is that empathy is just, more than anything, a state of mind, a way you can relate to people instead of quickly judging them. If you can begin with the assumption that you're completely ignorant about who this person is, then you can start to open up your mind to seeing them in a different light. Like Robert says, each person or girl you meet is like an undiscovered country, with a very particular psychological chemistry that you will carefully explore. You are more than ready to be surprised by what you uncover. This is where the state transference method comes in. Now, what is this exactly? Well, understand this. Obviously, it's almost impossible to read the thoughts of someone else. We're not telepathic mutants like Professor X after all. However, feelings and moods are a lot easier to pick up. We're all prone to catching the emotions, or as we say in New York, catching the vibes of someone else. In fact, people affect our moods every day with their own. So what you can actually do is to turn this physiological data into your advantage. Pay deep attention to her moods based on her body language and tone of voice. Stop being narcissistic and waiting for your turn to talk, as we said earlier. Because whenever you interact with a girl, you can tell whether she has a tone that matches or doesn't match what she's saying. Her tone can be insecurity, frustration, even confidence and joy. Whatever her vibe, her energy is, it will manifest itself in her voice, her gestures, and her postures. Next time you're with a girl, try detecting her vibe through observation before you even pay attention to what she's saying. This should register to you subconsciously. Sometimes you'll have a physical response. For example, if you're getting the feeling that she's uncomfortable or defensive, you might end up getting that same feeling as well. If you've never done this before, don't worry, it'll happen organically. Humans naturally have this ability to read moods because of the mirror neurons in our brains, neurons that fire up when we watch someone do something, like eating a delicious, oozy slice of pizza, almost like we were doing it ourselves. And once you make this connection with her by reading her vibe, you can actually do the reverse, meaning that instead of her moods affecting you, you can make your moods rub off on her. How do you do this? Well, remember, we have mirror neurons that pick up emotions in other people, so you can subtly mimic her, like making a similar facial expression, mirroring her gestures and posture, like if she's touching her own forearm, for example. Doing this, along with some common rapport techniques like simply nodding your head as you talk and smiling, it will naturally deepen the connection between you two. Once you two are in sync like this, she'll naturally want to start mimicking you without even realizing it. That's because you've absorbed her mood so deeply that you're able to reflect back to her whatever mood you want, like transferring your emotional state to her. Remember, you just created a feeling of rapport with her, which is something that most people secretly crave because they get it so rarely. It has a hypnotic effect when someone becomes your quote-unquote mirror because of the emotional connection. So far, I know we've mostly been talking about ideas in the abstract, so let me give you an example of how exactly this works with a story. So earlier this month, me and two of my boys went on a trip to Tampa, Florida for a little festival. It was the first large social gathering we went to since the start of the pandemic, and don't worry, we were all vaxxed and wearing masks, but the energy of the environment was intense. Loud house music blasting through the speakers, the smell of asphalt and beer permeating through the crowds of people as they dance and release all the pent-up energy from quarantine. Now, I already made up my mind to just chill and have a good time with the boys, and not start approaching random girls in the crowd like I would have done when I was younger. But lo and behold, halfway through the set of one of my favorite DJs, I can't help but notice this really cute Latina girl making eye contact with me and smiling. I didn't think much of it at first, but it must have been obvious because Calvin, one of the two friends I was talking about, pointed her out to me. Dude, she's staring right at you. Go talk to her. What can I say? First time back at a festival and I guess it's game on. Calvin pushes me over to her and I just real casually introduce myself. Hey, nice glitter. You look like you're about to walk down the runway. Not my smoothest line, but honestly it didn't even matter much since the music was so loud. She was just smiling and giggling, tells me her name is Vanessa. I can tell she is in a happy, excited mood. She's probably out for the first time in a while and looking for some spontaneous fun. I'm hyper aware of her moods, again like we talked about earlier with just using basic empathy to feel out her vibe based on the way she's talking, her facial expressions, and her smile. I could sense she was definitely into me, but still had some reservation because she was probably still a bit nervous. We make some small talk, then I start mirroring her a little bit, just in terms of her smile and eye contact. I quote-unquote zone in, making her feel the connection, like I can read her nervousness. I hold eye contact for a second longer than normal, then I start to feel a sense of boldness, like, you know what, I already have this girl into me, I'm just gonna go for it, feeling like nothing could go wrong. And after half a minute of mirroring her body language while feeling this sense of boldness, I start to see her relax a little bit, no longer as nervous. And a couple minutes later, she's the one pulling me deeper into the crowd. We go together to the front of the crowd and spend the rest of the night dancing on each other before I eventually had to go back to my friends. To be honest, I had no desire to take her back to my hotel. I was just glad I had fun at my first event in over a year. And if I could break down the entire interaction between Vanessa and I, it was literally just the state transference method. First, I could tell she was attracted to me, yet still nervous because of me being very observant and in tune with her body language and facial expressions. And then, once I completely empathized with her, feeling what she felt, I did the reverse. I took my bold energy and transferred it over to her through holding the mirroring body language. Soon, she herself didn't see anything to worry about and ended up pulling me. So that's it for the video, guys, and today we basically just talked about a very useful concept in dating and in relationships in general, which is the state transference method of using empathy in order to win her heart. As usual, guys, make sure to drop a like, it really helps out. And next week, I got something you're not going to want to miss, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Peace.